The internet has desensitized me to pretty much everything now. This was back when the deep web threads were popping up on HB, but I was roaming around Tor and ended up on the deep dark web. I remember 2 incidents which made my conscience say, "That's worse than hell, close it now." The faint of heart should not listen beyond this point. First one was when the Al Qaeda people kidnapped an American journalist in 2002 or so. They cut the journalist's head off slow with a machete, and I remember hearing the journalist make some pretty nasty sounds while it was happening. The carpet he was on kept becoming a darker shade of red every second that went by. It was disturbing as heck, especially since I was a young kid. Second was a Mexican lady who was being interviewed by some gang members. Next thing you know, the guy busts out a machete, bends her over and whacks her on the back of the neck. What made it even worse was how she screamed after her neck had been sliced open, and the cut wasn't even at all. The man must have swung about 20 times, making the sloppiest and inaccurate cut patterns possible. He even made about a 14-inch gash over her abdomen from swinging the machete so wildly. You can tell she was suffering. Then finally, he twisted her head like some exorcist. Exploring the deep web was a big mistake of mine, as the graphics that I saw disturb me to this day. My real dark web experience as any other story started, it was a few months ago. I'm a teen that always stays home from school, and I was always on the internet. I'm always curious and I like to get spooked. And then I came across the topic of the deep web. At first I thought it was fake, but then as soon as I got into it, a bit more research into it, I figured out how to download Tor onto my phone. I looked into the dangers and the risks, but I figured I like to take risks. So I clicked from link to link on the hidden wiki, Daniel's link, etc. Found, the casual stuff like drugs and weapons. I tried my best to avoid CP and everything related to that. I found random sites that were forums about people talking about fantasies and random stories. Then, at the end of the day, I decided to stop and go to sleep. So then the next day, when I got home from school, I got this call from a random number. And so I answered it anyways in case it's an important call. And it was silent for about 5 seconds. I usually hang up the phone at this point, but I kept listening, and then I heard mumbling and whispering. I was creeped out, and I realised that it could be a possibility that someone on the dark web is watching me. I thought to myself, maybe this is a warning. I decided to stop, for now. Later, a few months passed, and I was wanting to get back onto the dark web again to see what sites were up. So then I was searching on the Tor browser search engine and I found this messed up site. It was like a social network for psychos. Me and my curious self, I continued and made an account, and I saw that the timestamp was for a few weeks ago. Thinking to myself, wow, that's pretty recent for the deep web. I continued to post on these sites. People talking about their crave for CP and gore. I was disgusted. Then I clicked on the images and it was filled with dead bodies and dead children. So I got off the dark web for the day. A few weeks later, and I get curious and go back to that site, finding out now that they have a psycho version of YouTube. They don't have many videos, but it seems to either be porn or gore. A video that I think was named A Mother and a Son with One Baseball Bat. I was thinking this has got to be fake. So I opened the video and I started watching the video. It was taken by the mother and the little boy was sitting on the bed with the music box. The mum says, "You know what you did was wrong, and you need to apologise." The kid, in silence, with just the music box playing, sits there and then gets up with a baseball bat and hits his mother on the head. As the mother falls to the ground, seeing the mum's reaction and bruising, then the kid hits her again and again until the face is disfigured. Gosh, this was getting a little bit too far and disturbing. Every swing you can hear the kids cry, almost like he didn't mean to do this to his mother. Then finally, on his last swing, her head comes off, with blood splattered on the white sheet to the right of the screen. After seeing this, I almost got a panic attack, because that was way too extreme. After that experience, I've been more cautious on what I look at. Let me tell you from experience that the deep web is a disgusting human cesspit. You don't know what lies in the darkest recesses of the human psyche until you go there. I learned that the hard way. I got suckered in by the crazy stories and hype my friends gave it. I wanted to see it for myself. So last week I downloaded Tor and started browsing. I didn't feel any need for any extra protection, being completely new to the entire concept. In retrospect, I wish I had. I spent hours clicking link after link after link, and I was starting to get bored and a little freaked out. I had found a whole host of your typical crackheads searching for drugs. Sites with hitmen for hire, and a shit ton of military grade weaponry. At one point, I found myself scrolling through a post after post of vivid descriptions of animal abuse, and how the sick fuckers who committed those atrocities get off to them every night. I wish I had closed my computer right there and then, but something had kept my curiosity alight. Honestly, I think a part of me just wanted to see how fucked up the human mind could be. After a few more links of child porn and a couple of drug markets, I had had enough. This is it, I sighed to myself. One more link and I swear I'm getting out of this hellhole. I clicked the link, going blindly into what, unbeknownst to me, would alter my already cynical view on humanity. I mean, honestly, when you hear a guy go on about lighting his dog on fire and watching it writhe, you tend to not think the best of people, but this is a whole new level of twisted. The first thing that caught my eye was a curly pink font that served as the title for the opening page. I remember it all too clearly, as it seems so out of place in that slum of human refuge formerly known as the deep web. I scrolled down to find an image of an album and simple chat box. No one was online at that moment, so I went ahead and clicked on the first set of pictures. I was not ready for what I was about to see. The very first picture was of a young pregnant woman, bawling her eyes out. She looked scrawny and thin, with cuts and bruises marking her pale skin. She looked scared and malnourished, like she was begging for her life. I clicked to the next photograph and nearly vomited. The young woman from before was now sat in a chair, facing the camera, her dead, dull eyes burning into me. She was covered in blood and her abdomen had been torn open. In her cold, unfeeling arms, she held the child, still attached to the umbilical cord. Its half-formed, lifeless body was a deep crimson with blood, and one could tell it had been forcibly ripped from the womb. On the wall just behind them, written in their blood, was the words, "I gave them peace," in harsh, hasty letters. I don't know what possessed me to scroll through the photo. It was as if I couldn't control my own facilities. The image only got more and more grotesque as I looked further. The following images seemed to be a time-lapse of the decomposition of the body. I watched them rot, sitting there together. I watched the face of the mother, which could have been once considered beautiful, wither and collapsing on itself as a fetid mound of flesh. By the end of the series of images, they were nothing but desiccated skeletons. I would have noped it the fuck out of there, had it not been for a message that popped up on my screen. It was from the website chat. It read exactly as follows. "Hello there. Do you like what you see? Do you want more? Do you want to attain true peace?" I didn't know how to respond. I was rooted to my chair with fear. Then the sicko spoke again. "You don't have to be scared, Zachary. I love you. I want to help you. Let me help you." I managed to type a simple question. "How in the name of hell do you know my name?" Almost immediately I got a response. I know everything about you. You know you really shouldn't leave your curtains open like that. You'd get a draft. You see, I just want to help you. Please let me help you. My eyes flashed to the uncovered windows behind me, to the light of my webcam. My heart skipped a beat when I realised it was on. The sick fucker was watching me. I made a move to pull the plug on this sick son of a bitch when another message popped up. Don't try to shut me out. I will bring you peace. I swear, Zachary Tanner. It's the only real bliss in the world. That was the last message I got before I finally shut it off. Needless to say, I stayed off the internet for a long while after that. Just today I got back on, praying to God that it would have all been blown over. Oh, how wrong I was. I logged into my email and only found it spammed with emails from an account named I'll Show You Peace. Each one had the same message. I want to save you. I want to love you. I want to bring you peace, in all caps. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Each and every message had a candid photo of me, taken within the last week. I've tried to involve the police, but they haven't been much help. What do I do?